Hey, brothers, you're listening to Home Bar Happy Hour. We're talking about pumpkin spice. We're talking about Red October. And we're talking about some of the greatest comedy movies of all time. Let's roll, America.
All right, let's roll. There you are, Mike. I'm glad you showed up. Someone else was here for the intro. It was
right?
Chewbacca. That was such a weird pull we grabbed. Don't sue us, Disney and George Lucas.
Oh, that was a Chewbacca. That was some. That's not Hollywood grade, but it's all right.
It's okay. Hey,
Yeah.
Thank you guys, everyone, for stopping in to Happy Hour. We really appreciate seeing you guys. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe if you enjoy hanging out. If you're listening on a podcast service, a review helps us out immensely. 5-star, please. If you're going to leave us a 1-star, we don't want that. You can leave that on, I don't know, Joe Rogan's podcast or something. He's got enough 5-star. But that's enough of that. Let's get into it, Mike. Happy October.
I know,
Red
right?
October, man. We made it. We finally finally made it.
Yep, we finally made it. It is October, ladies and gentlemen. We have made it, and I love this month. I love October. There's so much things to do. Number one, the Phillies. The Phillies are in the playoffs, brother. Got that number 2 seed. We play in the NLDS here Saturday. The timing hasn't been done because you got to get the wild card series done first. But we definitely play Saturday, and I'm stoked.
Yeah, man.
Saturday and Sunday. I remember last year, man. Well, last year, really, we don't speak about those dark times. But last year, I was just chugging beer back here in my bar. I think I went through 3 kegs from this time till Christmas. So that was pretty. We don't speak about those dark times.
We don't speak about the dark days.
Between the Phillies losing and then the Eagles, well, the Eagles are off to a bad start. Well,
yeah, no kidding. That was not a great game against Tampa Bay. I don't know if you want to talk about that or just kind of skip right over it.
Yeah, we're going to skip right over because they don't deserve our time and attention at this moment. Let them go on their bye week and figure themselves out. And if they decide that they want to come back and they want to play football between the players and the coaches, I think it's more or less the coaching, but. We'll let it. Yeah. We'll let the cards fall where they may. But it's the Phillies right now. The Phillies they're taking my time now for the remainder of the playoffs. So hopefully they don't break my heart like they have these last 2 years.
We'll see. We'll see how they do.
But are you? Who are you? Who are you? You're not really following them. So
I don't really follow baseball too much.
Yeah, we're gonna get the winner. I'm thinking it's going to be the Mets. So
I heard the Mets are doing well, which is surprising for the Mets, if I'm not mistaken. Right there, historically, have been a pretty bad team. Great mascot. I love Mr. Met with the big baseball head. He's a pretty cool dude. He's someone I'd hang out with, grab a beer with. Not as cool as the Fanatic, but I think Mr. Met's a cool mascot as far as baseball mascots go.
I'd smack that son of a bitch. I hate everything about the Mets. The Mets and the Braves, I hate them. I hate them both.
Wow.
But,
okay.
So it is bad blood. Speaking of bad blood, you got the WWE pay-per-view Bad Blood here Saturday night as well.
Okay, who's who we looking forward to in Bad Blood, Mike? What's the card looking like?
I like the CM Punk Drew McIntyre Hell in a Cell match. Anytime it's like Hell in a Cell, I think that's going to be really good.
A lot of bad blood between those two. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then you have the Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. That has the qualities of the ingredients for a good entertaining match.
Okay. So wait, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are wrestling together.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because Reigns hasn't been fighting for a long time. I've been missing Raw and everything, but Yeah,
I
I
turn
guess
on
they're
every once in a while. I mean, like,
yeah.
last night they marketed this one match. It was Braun Strowman versus that other big guy. It was like last monster standing. So it's like they advertised it as like Godzilla versus Kong, and
Right.
it was pretty sick. But yeah, they were all the putting each other through tables and shit like that. Like that's all like entertaining and stuff to me. So yes, we all know it's fake, but it's entertaining and people do get
Oh,
injured.
for sure.
And Seth Rollins came back.
Yes, he did.
I'm trying to think what other matches are out there.
So I got it up here. Bailey versus Nia Jax. So I think Nia Jax took the title away from Bailey that she earned at WrestleMania earlier this year. That should be a good one. I actually like Bailey. I think she's a good wrestler. I think she's got some good moves. And then the other big one, it looks like storyline wise, that people are really engaged with is Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, with that weirdo Dominic Mysterio kind of in the middle. That should be a pretty good fight. I think Rhea Ripley's a really good wrestler too. I think she's got some killer moves. Liv Morgan's okay, but she's definitely kind of turning heel right now, and Rhea Ripley's become a little bit of the baby face, or at least the fan favorite, right?
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a good one too. Seeing that, I think I'm with you. I'm most excited for CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I think that's going to be a big one. That storyline has been going on for a long time with those two. To get those two in Hell in a Cell, right? Cage match will be good. Will be good television.
You also have the world heavyweight title going between Gunther and Sami Zayn. And,
okay.
I feel that because the Braun Strowman, or no, not Braun Strowman, Braun Breaker, Rick Steiner's son.
Yeah.
He lost his title belt to one of the Usos, and now he's like, I don't know. He put a thing about how he's going to be coming for Gunther's title. I guess I don't know, but
Okay.
Speaking of like wrestling, did you watch the Mr. McMahon series on Netflix yet?
I did, man. I binged that whole thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was super entertaining, super interesting. It was. I'll let you start off. What I just talked a lot about Bad Blood.
There was only one thing. Yeah, there was only one thing that I didn't know about that whole thing, and it was the Pat Patterson and some of the other executives taking apparently sexually assaulting or abusing or whatever the ring boys back in the 80s.
Yeah, I didn't know about that either. I mean, it was clearly news at the time.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Everything else I already knew. I mean, people were like, dude, this is some crazy stuff. And I was like, I was like, dude, this ain't even it. I was like, you should see all the other crazy shit. They only just scraped the surface of what was going on throughout the Attitude Era and everything.
Yeah, pretty wild. It was wild to see kind of what was weird about the series and what, I don't know if I want to say I liked, but I mean, they're very upfront, right? It was Ringer produced it. And right off the jump, they said hey, you're watching this Mr. McMahon series. Since we filmed it, a lot of weird shit came out about Vince McMahon. And not he might have been a philanderer, abhorrent stuff. You know what I mean? He could have been trafficking women. And these are all allegations, but I mean, truly despicable behavior. So that, narrative kind of is threaded underneath the entire documentary, where it's they're not saying it, but we all kind of know. And then the last 15 minutes of the final episode, jump into that. But the whole thing is, looking at his life as, this promoter. I mean, really, two things can be true at the same time, right? Vince McMahon can be an absolutely despicable human being and also created this entire wrestling empire that, totally changed the face of what professional wrestling looked like. Before he came in, it was all those weird little territories, and It was
Yeah.
much more of a local thing. And then he came and just took everything away. And it was interesting watching, what he did to all of professional wrestling versus what ECW was, doing to him in the early 90s before the Attitude Era really kicked
Yeah.
everything off. I would have liked a little more. I mean, I guess there was enough of it, but I think the Stone Cold Steve Austin, like that era, I think that uh, it's part of the Attitude Era, but Stone Cold Steve Austin and his personality and who he was, I think that really speaks to like what wrestling community and pro wrestling culture is as a whole, and how Vince McMahon was able to become this boss and this heel, and Stone Cold was be able to become the hero champion. Because I mean, everyone, doesn't matter who you are, if you're a blue collar working guy, like you have wanted to slap your boss in the face at some point. There's
Yeah.
always been like, dude, my boss is a jackass and I wish I could just punch him in the throat. And like professional wrestling created that narrative and that storyline between Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what I mean? You just want to crash a beer and then stunner your boss. And like you got to see that on TV, every Monday night for years. And I think that, uh, you know,
Well, there's
really
also a
defined
little.
what wrestling is.
I think a lot of people when they see this, they're like shocked and like I'm like, you have to I understand where Vince and what he created, and it was live reality television. And
Yeah.
everything that was going on, like he pulled from like all the different, like they explain that, like where he pulled from all these different things that were going on in society, and then society obviously changes, so that the whole reality TV and the whole everything adjusts and changes with society and what's going on in order to tap into those bases in order for them to get some money, and that's what you have to do. And when you're running that type of business, I mean, I don't know. Could like businesses have every business that you have all like even from all the way down bottom to like a mega empire like that. Like you're always going to have like some bad things happen in the military, bad things happen in every organization, and but like it's got to keep going and stuff. And do I believe that he did some stuff? Yeah, I mean that's the type of guy he is. Is it right? No, it's definitely not right. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have all the facts in front of me to see everything, and it's difficult. I just don't want to get into it because I understand. I understand both sides, and but at the end of the day, I don't feel like unless there was like if it was legit, like sex trafficking or rape or force or coercion or whatever, like that's illegal. You can't be doing that to another human being.
Right.
But I just feel like there's always in that type of business. I always felt like there was always two sides to a story. But like what happened to Sable, like I don't like she didn't like what was being done with her character. So then she drops out and goes after him and sues him and then wins. But then he brings her back. And she does the same shit, but even more.
Yeah.
And I'm
that
just
was like an interesting part of the documentary too, is like it seemed like Vince McMahon put, I can't remember who exactly said it, but someone says like in the documentary, like Vince McMahon has only had one super long standing monogamous relationship, and that has been with the WWE. It was I think it's important to point out that these allegations are horrendous and abhorrent. They're also at the moment like unsubstantiated. They're like currently in litigation. So
and like when it comes to
nothing
like
has been proven.
When it comes to like the steroids and the drugs, like obviously like I don't feel like he what was hey do this, but I don't feel like he was like going out there hey yeah do this, but I don't feel like he was like hey it's kind of like out of sight out of mind type of thing.
That was such a weird like two-edged sword, right? Because the allegations that were being made was like the athletes that did the most steroids or, were participating in steroids were the ones that became more famous. But, you know, technically, statistically, like steroids make you perform better. So it was
Yeah.
also like the bigger, badder and athletes that could heal the quickest because they were on steroids also rose to the top. So, it
I
was a silly
feel
argument to
yeah.
say
I
like
feel
that,
I
like one relates to one.
Yeah, I feel like the work schedule that he had them all on. So like if they would get injured, like you'd have to wrestle through it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
your heart's not there. You know what I mean? And it was like that type of mantra attitude or whatever you want to call it, or work environment. I think that led to a lot of the wrestlers who died at a young age, because like you're mixing steroids with painkillers and shit like that, and you have no idea what the ramifications are behind that. And like I feel
Right.
like if you get injured and you have a doctor's notice, like that's how it is now, but it wasn't like that back then.
No,
So,
it was it was very it was also that was the 80s, right? Like the 80s were just
80s
such a
and
different
90s, 80s,
yeah,
90s, and 2000s.
it was just such a different time. I think like there's been kind of an interesting like retrospective look back at like Mary Lou Retton. Remember when she famously performed during an injury at the, I think it was like the 86 Olympics or something like that. And at the time it was this, huge important cultural moment and everyone was so proud of her. And like now people look back and they're like, man, this is kind of like, pretty shitty that we had this girl performing like instead of like taking a break. We
Yeah,
should have let her like, heal.
yeah.
She was like 16 or 17. It was just a very different mindset and a different era and a different world. But either way, I think it is a fascinating documentary. I think people should definitely watch it just to kind of see a look at this, incredibly polarizing figure and a figure that is only going to become more polarizing,
Yeah.
throughout his uh, various litigious endeavors.
You know what? You know what was really polarizing this past weekend?
What's that?
I'll tell you what it wasn't. It was my picks. I completely bombed on the
Oh no.
on my I don't not on the actual picks like the money line picks. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
spreads. Like my spreads, I completely bombed on all of them. Like I think I got like 3 wins out of
Ooh.
all those. Yeah, it was miserable. So we're going to jump right into polarizing picks today. We're going to go right into the Stone Cold Gulag locks, brother.
Let's do it.
I've got the Bucks over the Falcons. I've got the Vikings over the Jets. I got the Panthers over the Bears. I got the Ravens over the Bengals. I got the Dolphins over the Patriots. I think the Dolphins are going to come through on this. They're going. I feel even if it's up in New England. I got Washington. Washington has been playing. That quarterback Jaden Daniels has been playing lights out. I got them over the Browns. I got the Colts over the Jaguars. This game right here, the Bills and Texans, that's going to be a game to watch at 1 o'clock. I feel that it's going to be the Bills. I'm going to go with the Bills. I got the Broncos over the Raiders. I got the Cardinals over the 49ers. No. I'm sorry. I got the 49ers over the Cardinals. I was just looking at the spread there and what I picked. I'm going with the spread. They get Cardinals get 7.5 points, so I'm going to go with them. But I feel that the 49ers are going to win. That's going to be a good 4 o'clock game. I got the Packers over the Rams. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, we're going to go with the Packers over the Rams. I got the Seahawks over the Giants. I got the Steelers over the Cowboys. And I got the Chiefs over the Saints. Got some good games here, man.
Yeah, should be a good
real
one.
Good games, yeah. And I feel like it all comes down to home turf. So that's why I got those picks right there. Some of them are not home turf picks, but the injury bug, man, it's been just insane, dude.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's super. I want to know what you feel about this, Mike. Like I think you mentioned it once or twice, but they shortened the preseason from 4 games to 3 games, right?
Yeah.
So really all that did was now like starters didn't play like at all during the preseason, and it kind of turned like the first 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season into preseason. I think they're talking about adding another game and then making the preseason only 2 weeks. Like, do you think that's contributing to all of these injuries? That there's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, a lot of hamstring injuries, a lot of MCL
yeah,
and ACL tears and sprains. I feel like that. Yeah, because your body maybe not. I would assume that your body's not conditioned enough. But I feel that it's a time during the preseason where you get all your depth. That's a time for you to get your depth uh, um, acclimated to the game. So
yeah,
because if you look at it right now, that's all that's playing right now. Mostly is all the depth that's
yeah,
playing, and all like the big. There hasn't been too many like big like you had Jared Goff. He went off last night. Justin Fields had himself a game.
yeah.
I'm trying to figure, but dude, it's like hit or miss with some of these big name quarterbacks, dude. And like you got Andy Dalton coming in and just slinging it around. Like this dude's like the Red Rocket has been alive in the league for a while, dude. Even Jason Peters even came back.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Weird,
I mean,
man.
yeah, it's a weird. I mean, I've over the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 seasons, like I've always seen like weird shit in the beginning of the NFL. Like it's just the beginning of the season's always just weird. But
Yeah.
this has been a weird one for everyone.
Yeah, I think it's been really weird. I think it was good to have 4 preseason games where like in the first 2 preseason games you kind of played your starters like most of the game, but it was also like a pretty low stakes situation. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? There weren't these really big hits. Everyone was what's that? I don't know if you remember that Jerry Seinfeld joke where he's talking about like uh horses that are racing. He's like, I bet you know what these horses don't know is that if they break their leg, they take you out back and shoot them. It's like
yeah,
there's a lot of careful stepping around that third turn there. It's like whoa, 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 slow down. That's kind of
yeah.
how it was like the preseason games. It was like, hey, we're playing, but like no one's taking deep shots at quarterbacks or anything. But now it's only 3 games. They're like, yeah, we'll play them the first half of the first preseason game and then let them sit on the bench for 2 weeks until the season starts. And you're like, I don't think these guys are getting warmed up. I don't think they're doing what they need to do.
Yeah, do I feel like the Eagles are going to be like this all season? No, they're too they're the talent there is too good. That's why I feel like it's all comes down to the coaching and how they got prepared. I have no idea why. I know we said we weren't going to talk about it, but we ended up doing it. I have no idea why Vic Fangio never adjusted. All they were doing, like the ball was leaving Baker Mayfield's hands within like the snap. It's like within a second, and it was
Yeah.
just these. It was just these picks. It was just like these, checkdowns and stuff like that. They were leaving so much cushion there within 10 yards, and I'm just like, why are we not playing press coverage? And people are giving shit about Darius Slay. Darius Slay's more of a press coverage corner than more of a zone corner.
Yeah.
Like he gets the ball hawk on him is derived from press, like getting physical with the receiver. And if you don't allow that, or if you don't adjust to that, like it was just they moved down. I knew it was like the first series. I was like, all right, well they moved down. They'll make some adjustments. They didn't make any adjustments, and like they waited too long. And then I don't know. And then they refused to run the ball. They refused to run the ball. I have no idea what the fuck is going on offense on this coaching side. But how are you passing when you don't have your 2 top receivers? Like I don't get it. Like I just don't get it. Just run the ball. Like. But I felt like there was a lack of creativity there to getting the ball, more creative plays to getting Saquon the ball, and they relied too much on passing to Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a good thing we have an early bye week, coming up, and we'll see how they come back in week 6. Hopefully
yes.
they can figure some stuff out. That's the important thing.
Yeah. Do you know what else is making a big old comeback?
What's that?
When it comes to October, it's pumpkin spice Oh my god, all of the Karens of the world. Do you see that one cartoon that they made? It kind of like reminded me of like Ren and Stimpy. It was like, she's like, pumpkin spice! And you're like, then what is this? That's vanilla latte mocha for the girl in front of you. Bring me pumpkin! Like,
PSLs, baby. People love them. You know, people love these pumpkin spice lattes.
Don't get me wrong. I love the, the taste of pumpkin spice and all that shit. But dude, man, people were just like, oh my god, I got my pumpkin spice. Ah! And then went pumpkin spice, anything cinnamon. Like you got pumpkin pies, you got anything like peanut butter, all that type of shit. Like, dude, and I think my biggest thing for October when it comes around is probably soup season.
People love soups. People are big on soups. Elizabeth made like 2 giant batches of soup this weekend. Just giant old ham bone and black bean soup, and then a turmeric soup. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna run with a lobster bisque or a clam chowder.
Look at you.
Or clam chowder. Yeah, I love a good. I have a good clam chowder recipe. It's pretty slamming. But I got some chili I got to make here in the middle of the month. Chili's also a staple for October, man.
Yeah. I love a good chili.
But chili's also good in the spring too. When it all depends on how you make it. Like I always in the fall here, I always mix in I go a little bit more. How would you say meatier, less bean, more meat, very hearty, with an Oktoberfest beer. Like it doesn't matter with any one of them. But in the spring, like when I make my chili, it's kind of like more lean. So I'll do like more bean. I'll do a fatty beef with some ground chicken, and I'll add like a little bit more. I'll go a little bit more Tex-Mex with it, so it'll have like a little bit more kick. I always like for my thickener. I always like to use Tostitos hint of lime, and then I add lime rind. Like I just shave. You shave that's called the rind. I always like to put some, fresh squeezed lime in there, and score shave or shred the rind. You know what I mean? With I didn't even
cheese grater.
Yeah, no, not a cheese grater. Not a grater. No, not a grater.
I'm just gonna name out different things until it comes.
About it, but I should no, not a knife, but
a bark.
No. But yeah, so and then and using a Mexican beer to cook it with. Yeah, with maybe some jalapenos in there to give it a little bit more kick. But yeah, that's a little bit more soupy. I like a little bit more soupy, but that's just my preference.
Yeah.
So
I made a Philly cheesesteak chili one time for a chili cook-off I was doing. I thought this would be a great idea. It took me forever to find Cheese Whiz at the grocery store. Do you know where Cheese Whiz is at the grocery store, Mike? I'll give you a hint. Not with the cheese. Yeah, not with dairy.
It's in the dry shelf.
It was like next to the crackers. Like I had to find crackers, and then Cheese Whiz was next to it. How ridiculous is that?
You know what you do?
It's not cheese, I guess.
Here's a basic thing. If you want to do a cheese sauce, all you got to do is you take like 1 stick of butter is equivalent. Put that down there, and then just sift in flour, so you get your roux. And then so it all depends on how much flour you put into it. So make sure that if you use like a half a cup of flour, you're going to use a half a cup of whole milk.
Okay, and that's a cheese sauce.
Well, that's your base. That's your base that you want to go off of. Like that's called damn, my chef's going to kill me when he hears this.
A roux? Is that what you just said?
No, it's the roux. But when you add the dairy to it, the milk, that turns into it's your base. It's one of the mother sauces. It starts with a C.
Mother sauce.
Yeah, there's the 5 mother sauces. But yeah, so anyways, so then you can add anything you want to that. It's more of like a cream. It's supposed to be like a cream base, so you could put like your onion bouquet in. So like you do an onion and like a half an onion, and then you cook that with the milk, and then you let that simmer with the milk with an onion or with a clove stabbed through stab it through a bay leaf, and then you let
Okay.
that cook. You let all that cook and simmer out. Then you pull it out, and then you make your roux in a separate pot. And then you add that milk slowly to the roux, and then you got your this is killing me, but yeah. Then you grate. You make sure you get some grated cheese. Like you want to grate your own cheese, and you just sprinkle it in along with it. And then the more sharp cheddar you put in there, and you can add like different cheeses too. But this is like the basic one. And then you just add your cheese to it, slowly constantly stirring it, and then you have your homemade cheese sauce.
Is it a bechamel sauce?
Bechamel. Sorry. Yeah, bechamel. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Google, for the 5 mother sauces.
Yes.
Everyone go support Wikipedia. They just helped me.
Help me. I needed to jog my memory there. I haven't said bechamel in like a long time. Bechamel.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. It's French, right?
Yes.
Those French, they know what they're doing when it comes to cooking.
Yes. Well, then maybe in another episode we'll talk about French cooking and cuisine, about how they that's where the original that's where the kitchen came together.
La cucina.
Was French cuisine, like regarding like the stovetop and the oven and all that.
Okay.
So let's get into some of the questions here, Joe. Which comedy film delivered the biggest laugh of your lifetime?
So for me, comedy flicks, man, I think like
Had to be a film, not a show.
Oh yeah. The first like film I can really remember that like just absolutely like slayed me. Like I thought it was the funniest thing ever. And a part of it was like the time of my life. I think everyone has like the time in your life when you see it, but it was Knocked Up and then Superbad. Those movies came out like kind of back to back. Those movies were just so funny and so hilarious and just like a different type of comedy that couldn't really have been made before and can't really be made again after.
I know.
Those were like just kind of like a snapshot of time. What about you, Mike? What are like, 2 of your biggest laugh comedy movies?
Well, that was the time. Yes, the time there. That was like the Will Ferrell era. You had the Superbad. You had the first Hangover, the very first Hangover. You had some other ones, but definitely Step Brothers had to be the funniest. I could quote it. I was like, I think the funniest quote from that movie is that you and your mom are hillbillies. This is a house of learned doctors. Actually, to tell you the truth, the first one was when it was right out of the gate, right out of the beginning, and like they were doing the credits and stuff. And he says to his dad, he's like, "What if Nancy sees me, and she sees me, and I got my chest hair going on my ball frill, and maybe she's had some of the old lion, and now she wants the young calf." Shut the fuck up! When he said that, I fucking lost it.
Yeah,
I was crying, and that movie had me crying, laughing the whole time.
That movie was
portrayed it.
Yeah, that movie was just on a different level. Like it was so stupid funny. Everything about that movie was just like it was like because it's so outlandish and like slapstick and comical, but also like so grounded in realism. Like like some 40-year-old people that still live in their parents' house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people like that exist that just never grew up, don't really have like real jobs, have just been kind of riding on their parents' coattails. And it just like takes that idea, that premise, and cranks it up to 11 in like the most outlandish way possible. Yeah, that movie is insanely good.
Yeah, dude, when the scene cut to them in the bedroom, like halfway when they started becoming friends, and he had he had the Chewbacca mask on, talking. I was crying, laughing so hard. I'm like, what the fuck? It was so random. And then like when in the beginning when he's like, oh, I could sing too. And he's like eating French fry, and he just throws it down on his plate. Why don't you get down on these happy paws? Why don't you jump right in? It's a crotch party right up in here. So why don't you lick on this big Dale? Stop it, Dale. That's funny. I remember my first beer. Oh, that was so fucking good.
Yeah, that
But
that movie and what a, like Adam McKay directed that. He's gone on to direct like some really great movies. He did The Big Short, he did Don't Look Up, he did The Other Guys, he did Anchorman before that. Like he just like has this way of I think getting like really great performances out of his actors, specifically Will Ferrell. For some reason, he can just get Will Ferrell to be hilarious in a way like other people can't. Like Will Ferrell's always funny, but he's funnier when Adam McKay's behind the camera for some
yeah,
reason.
I felt like The Other Guys was like the last funny Will Ferrell movie, and how
Yeah.
like they brought all those actors and actresses in, and and like he's like, get a bit about, get his bitches better be using Jimmy's. Oh, dude, it was so hilarious.
That one
I
was
kind of
great.
like Talladega Nights. It was okay.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was but a lot of some of the stuff like just went a little bit. It was kind of cheesy. I did find him saying, "Well, he's like, I piss excellence. I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence," and that was funny. I
Yeah.
thought that was good. But Anchorman was pretty good too. The first one.
Yeah, I think Anchorman was kind of in that like early stage too, that early like like kind of changing of comedy when it was like the new cast of SN, like you'd already
Yeah,
had like the Sandlers and the Farleys going off and make movies, and this was like the new ish at the time cast going on, and the Will Ferrell's
I
in it.
killed a guy with a trident. I saw that. Brooke killed a guy. Speaking of which, Brooke, we've been meaning to tell you, you're probably wanted for murder, so you should find yourself a shelter.
Probably
Get out
lay
of town.
low.
Yeah, lay low.
Yeah.
You should probably wanted for murder. That was good.
Yeah, that was
But,
a great flick.
what is a word you can't use in a sentence anymore because you hate it so much?
I don't know if I have a word like that. I really like words. There's a lot of words that I use a lot, but I don't know if there's any words that I just like don't like. Words that I don't know, maybe the word woke. I think people are overusing that, and that becomes like kind of this like catch-all for anything someone doesn't like. Like, oh, that's woke. I'm like, I don't think that word even means anything anymore. That's the only word I
Yeah.
can like think of.
But I mean, have you ever used that in your own? Because I really don't say woke.
I don't think I've ever said that word
Because I really
once
don't
in
give.
my
I
life.
really don't care what people fucking say. You gotta.
Yeah.
You need to dig into your brain and go back into the military because I can guarantee you could find some words because that's all I needed to do. I saw this. I was like the first word came to my mouth. Caveat.
Caveat.
If I had to hear caveat one more fucking time, I'm like, yeah, just a caveat off of what he said. No, fuck. What? That's not even That's not even the proper terminology for that. like everybody using all these big fucking words and shit, and they're like, oh, dude, like how you said woke. I would say ironclad. I can't listen to that. I can't stand that fucking word anymore. It's overused. What else? There was a lot of words that were in the fucking military that I couldn't fucking stand. Like formation.
Yeah,
or,
the military is a good one because there are so many like kind of ridiculous phrases that mean nothing. Like when
Yes.
you know, like stand fast. You're like, what does that mean? How do you
Yes.
stand quickly? What like?
And
What are you
it's
wanting
always-
me to do?
And I feel that it's the dorks who use this. You know what I mean? Like people people who have they just want people who just they have like a fucking a phobia.
Yeah.
That's a Frank Costanza quote right there. I got some kind of a phobia. No, but I feel like a lot of these people like they just have like this ego or not an ego problem. They're self conscious because they were like that's what everybody. Oh, I want to go down range. No, you fucking don't.
Yeah.
You say you want to until it happens, then all of a sudden I got fucking injured. I can't go out anymore or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
dude, don't be careful what you fucking wish for. But
True
but
that.
yeah, a lot of that's polarizing to me. Polarizing.
Do you like that word? Is that a good word?
Oh God, polarizing. When somebody uses polarizing to describe something, that should be like something like that's a word that you should use. That I was just absolutely polarized, like blown away, But
That's not what polarizing means. Polarizing means like there are there are people on like wildly different sides of the fence on something like the new Joker Folie à Deux movie. I saw it last night. That movie's going to be polarizing because I think there's going to be some people that really, really love it and some people that
See,
really, really hate it.
That's why I don't use polarizing, because I don't use it in the right terminology.
There you go. You know, it's another word that people don't. Here's one. This is a word that people use all the time, but no one uses it correctly. Is the word bombastic? And I don't hear this like all the time.
One.
Yeah, but bombastic means like saying a lot with little meaning behind it. You know, it'd be like, you know, someone being like, "Oh, this is the absolute greatest thing in the world," and then it just kind of sucks. It's nothing. But people typically use it.
Word salad.
Exactly. But people
So,
typically use the word bombastic like in the literal opposite way. They're like, "Oh, what a bombastic moment that was."
I can tell you a few people I know in that are big that are bombastic.
Yeah.
But we're not going to go down that. We're not going to go down that road.
We won't go down that bombastic road.
Yes. Here's another one here. After dying in a grocery store, you're sent to grocery store hell. What punishments await for you?
So this is the punishment that would await you is all of the self-checkout lanes would be closed, and you have just like 3 or 4 items. And do you ever shop at Aldi, Mike?
Yes.
So Aldi, they have about 4 or 5 lanes, and it's usually only one open at a time. And sometimes you get to one and the light will turn off like, 3 people in, and there's like, we're not doing it. You got to go down to this one. So that would be hell, is you're like 5 people deep. Yep. And you'd be waiting, and then you'd almost get up there, and then their light would turn off, and the next light would turn on 2 rows down. And before you have time to get over there, everyone has already jumped in front of you. And that would just keep going back and forth. Like you'd never get to check out, just be stuck in that endless loop of the Aldi checkout lane line.
I would have to say just a continuation of people ramming into your fucking cart for me. Like that. Or
does that happen to you a lot?
Yeah, it happens to me.
Really?
Been to Costco?
I've been to Costco. I guess I rarely grab a cart. I'm not a cart getter.
I'm a cart guy. The other thing would be, it would have to be going into the self-checkout line, and then scanning all your shit, only to know that you have too much shit, and you got to start, figuring out how you're going to fucking place it around the scale there, and then it comes up. Oh, you're going to have to, check out because there's too much weight on the scale. So then you have to
something that happens? They'll kick you out of the self. Really?
No. They don't kick you out. The computer kicks you out. So you have more shit on in your cart or whatever, or if you're at like the single one, or you're at the conveyor belt there. Like if you're over the weight, like you gotta pay your shit, get it off there, put it up on top, and then scan it, go through it again. Or you get you're waiting in line, and you get all the way to the you get there and you're checking out, and then you finally fucking remember that you forgot the goddamn one ingredient for a fucking meal. And I'm like, no, dude, there's no turning back, man. I just like, fuck it, dude. I'll just go somewhere else to get it. Like, you know what I mean? That would be probably my grocery store hell. Or maybe you go in the produce section and all the lettuce is all fucking moldy and shit.
Or it's just a Walmart.
Or if it's like there's like a few left and it's like a few heads of lettuce left and it's all like fucking like they're like got cuts in it, like brown cuts and shit.
Yeah. That's nasty. Not about that
eternally scanning items on a self-checkout that doesn't always work, with Satan being the only employee at the help station, but he's always on his phone and never helps.
What? Yeah, something is weird with workers' rights, that like robots are theoretically replacing every job, but robots are like the worst cashiers, and I don't know how cashiers are the ones winning the war against robots, because I have not dealt with many great cashiers. It seems like a pretty easy job, but so many just like chilling, hanging out on their phone. But
here you go.
It still beats a self-checkout.
This is a Walmart one. There's just one lane open, and the other 20 are closed for no particular reason, and there's like there's lines out the ass.
You know, I
I
don't
would
know
just
how
leave
you
my car and just walk out.
that dude. That is like literally like when I walk into a Costco or a store, whatever. The one of the first things I do is I look at what the line is like walking in, and if it's too big of a line, I just won't buy anything. I'm like, well, I'm not shopping here because I hate waiting in line.
Yeah. What is, you look in front? You're going down there just seeing what people have and what type of people they are. If it's an elderly person, with like some Edmonds and you know what I mean, like different shit. All right, I'll sit in this one. And then
Sometimes I like to look at the cashier too, and I'm like, okay,
Yes.
this cashier looks like she's like 94 years old. She should have retired, a decade ago in the previous millennia. I'm not getting in that line. You know what I mean? That line is
Yep.
going to take way too long. There's a young buck and there's a young bull, young calf in the next line. That'll be the one I'll go to. They're just slinging items across the checkout. That's who I want.
waiting eternity for someone to approve your alcohol.
Oh, that does take a while.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Music played. Oh, here's a good one. The music played in the store is just 12 songs copied onto a CD, and a CD always skips a little at the same spot in the playlist. Or you go to some of these mom and pop ones, and they have like music from like the 20s and 30s.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I had a bunch of those. But that's all I got today, Joe.
That's all I got too, man. Hey, thank you guys so much for hanging out here at Happy Hour. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you guys enjoy your October. It's spooky season. I'm sure we'll be getting into some horror movies and baseball and all that good stuff in the coming weeks.
We definitely are. And
Yeah.
don't overindulge on pumpkin spice because
Don't do it.
we have all month to savor it. So don't come right out of the gate. It's always like a brand new song that comes out, and then you just constantly listen to it over and over and over again, and then it's like worn out like within a week or two, and you don't want to listen to it anymore. Just indulge, treat yourself, America.
Treat yourself. Don't get over pumpkin before Thanksgiving. That's the rule. But that's it. Yep. See you guys.